A new Star Wars game from EA could be just around the corner. We already know this year we're getting LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, which is developed by TT Games and published by Warner Brothers. But one of EA's studios, which we know have been working on a smaller, more unusual Star Wars project, just started making some noise. EA Motive, based in Montreal, Canada, just launched their own Twitter page. For those of you who don't know, EA Motive were responsible for building Battlefront 2's story campaign. They've worked only as a support studio, assisting some of EA's larger studios on huge games like Battlefront 2 and Anthem. But over the past few years, Motive have been working on their own dedicated Star Wars project titled Project Maverick, which has been hinted at a few times over the past year, but it seems like we might be about to learn a whole lot more about this secret Star Wars game. Hey everyone, it's Andrew. Now it's possible this new Star Wars game won't be releasing until 2021 or 22, based on a few recent EA earnings calls where they reveal future plans for EA titles, and they've confirmed this time frame for a new Star Wars title. But who knows, they could be working on this secretly and just not be hinting at anything. But this is still a few years away, and in 2020, now that there's not going to be any more Battlefront 2 updates, there's a gap for EA Star Wars games, with nothing releasing in the near future. But I think Project Maverick might be about to fill that gap. So, what's the latest news? On their Twitter page, Motive announced the Motive family is excited to be joining on social platforms to share on who we are and the work we do. Really, we couldn't imagine a better time to start connecting with everyone online. And following this, Jason Schreier, a former Kotaku journalist who now reports for Bloomberg News, tweeted, "Looks like someone's getting ready to announce a new game," after which he specifically confirmed that he thinks it's a Star Wars game. In a later tweet, he also linked an old article where he mentioned the new Star Wars game that EA have announced is being worked on, with more details to come soon. And Jeff Grubb, another video games journalist, replied to Motive's tweet with a Top Gun Maverick gif, hinting at the project's codename. Now, both these journalists are trusted sources for revealing gaming news, and usually if they're talking about something, it means it's probably happening. So I think that's reason enough to get excited that soon we're getting more details about Project Maverick. EA Play is just a few weeks away and will take place on June 11th with the new title EA Play Live 2020. All gaming press events are taking place online this year. And you have to think that with Motive Studios launching their Twitter page saying they're excited to share who they are and what they're working on, that this is going to be the next Star Wars game from EA. So a few months ago, back in March, this image here leaked on the European PlayStation Network. In the artwork, we have an Imperial Star Destroyer and a fleet of X-Wings. So from these details, we know the game is probably set in the original trilogy era. And the ships seem to be flying on a planet that looks like Mustafar maybe. There's definitely some lava here and everything is red and black. This is just a teaser image, but these clues would be my best guess for the setting and era of this game. But seeing the details of this image, the X-Wings, and then tying this to Tom Cruise's character in Top Gun named Maverick, a jet fighter pilot, makes me wonder if this is going to be a dedicated Starfighter game. Criterion Games are responsible for building Starfighter Assault into Battlefront 2, but they would have also worked with Motive for Battlefront 2's Starfighter story missions. So could this be a complete Starfighter pilot simulator? It's just speculation, but you know, there's a chance. And I also want to draw your attention to the meaning of the word Maverick. It means unorthodox or independent-minded person. Representatives from Motive have previously referred to Project Maverick as a smaller, more unusual project. The vice president of Motive, Patrick Claus, referred to it as, quote, a very unique Star Wars experience. To me, this says it's not going to be like any other Star Wars game we've ever played and could throw all our expectations off for what this is going to be. So perhaps not a Starfighter game, but something unpredictable and unorthodox. The word unique makes me very excited for this though. So I want to take a closer look at Motive's previous work, the Star Wars Battlefront 2 campaign. This wasn't received all that well and did suffer some criticism. I personally felt like the campaign was too short and Iden's turn to the rebellion came way too soon and wasn't fully warranted based on her entire upbringing in the Empire. It's kind of like she just switched sides. But the campaign did have some memorable moments, and if Motive can build on the strengths of Battlefront 2's campaign and implement them into the development of this new game, Project Maverick could be incredible. Sure, we don't know yet if it's going to be a single player or multiplayer experience, or whether the game will have any story, but if it's anything like Motive's previous work, there'll be a heavy emphasis on narrative, and if it's a smaller game, not a larger AAA release, perhaps they've had the time to take the proper care needed to create a new game. This isn't going to be the scale of a new Battlefront or Jedi Fallen Order. Smaller, shorter, unique. That's what we've got so far. One of the most memorable Battlefront 2 story moments was Del Meeko's interaction with Luke Skywalker. I thought this entire sequence was written so well. Luke's character felt real, and it showed a different side of the Empire we've never really seen before.
I know who you are. Why'd you help me?
Because you asked.
Del's beliefs and ideologies were tested.
I've heard 100 stories about the Jedi. They terrified me as a boy on Coruscant, but you...
And even though the mission was repetitive and kind of boring, killing these bugs over and over again, that's not what I remember this for.
You're telling me the man who destroyed the Jedi Order was secretly one of them?
No. I'm telling you that as a boy on Coruscant, you were frightened of the wrong thing.
So many lines in this mission just hit so well. Luke has so much presence, so much wisdom.
I won't stop you from destroying this vault. Wouldn't you say the Empire's done enough damage to innocent worlds?
And you can feel Del's confusion and change of heart.
So what happens now? We both walk off in separate directions and pretend like this never happened.
I don't think you can. There's still conflict in you.
Of course there's conflict in me. I'm not blind. I know what the Empire is capable of, but what else is there?
A choice?
The rebellion?
No. A choice to be better.
As Luke leaves, you feel Del has just witnessed something special, something he's going to remember for the rest of his life. Meeting Luke, experiencing his wisdom and humbleness, Luke embodies his character at the end of Return of the Jedi, the Empire defeated, a Jedi Knight. And the other memorable part of this story campaign was Lando and Shriv's relationship.
Relax, it's one strike team, we'll be fine.
And if it's not?
So many great moments between these two characters.
Hey, can you move? Your cape is in my way. No. You have no sense of personal space.
But I have a great sense of style.
Lando isn't really big on plans, and Shriv is anxious and blames Lando for everything that goes wrong.
You know what you're doing, right?
Of course.
Unauthorized input detected. Security lockdown initiated.
Nice.
It looked like a power button to me.
I think Shriv is the best original Battlefront 2 character.
If I die here, I'm glad you will too.
Well, thank you, buddy.
Star Wars has always needed a little extra sarcasm.
So, about your plans.
I'm working on it.
Well, whatever it is, it would be great if it didn't get us killed.
And then Kylo Ren's interrogation of Del at the end of the story.
The map to Skywalker. You know how I can find it.
I thought this was a fitting end for the campaign, although be it short. Finding out Agent Hask has survived and Kylo leaving Hask to do what he wants with Del.
How are you, Del?
This shows a clear distinction between the light and the dark.
You spare me the pleasantries, Hask. We both know how this ends.
Yeah, and you don't get to be brave!
And the choice Del made, along with Hask's ignorance. Great contrast.
We all change, don't we? Hey? And look at you. You used to be dead.
And Del's interaction with Luke years earlier is still lingering here. If Motive can build on the strengths of this campaign, if they can take what worked, run with these ideas, and evolve them into their new game, Project Maverick could be promising, and maybe exactly what we need after Battlefront 2's cancellation. So what do you think this new Star Wars game will be about? And if it's a Starfighter game, is this something you'd want to play? Let me know in the comments. And speaking of great Star Wars games, I recently made a video about the Revenge of the Sith game. This is one of my personal favorites. You can go watch that video here. And follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and join my Discord for lots more Star Wars gaming, news, information, and more. And thanks for watching this. My name is Andrew. I'll catch you soon.
Stay bombastic.